Okay, hello everybody. This is Cameron O'Brien for Winning Edge Investments, previewing a race for tomorrow at Belmont. This is Belmont Race 6, the Amelia Park Benchmark 70 plus restricted race over 1,600 metres. I'm expecting the state of the track to be about a soft 5 to a good 4, somewhere in that range. It's currently about a soft 6. It's improving. It'll be somewhere in here because there's virtually no rain forecast. It's just a tiny bit of rain forecast. I'll leave it at soft 5 for now. Now, what you're looking at here is, this is my form guide for the race. And as you can see, it's got the field here plus the speed map over here. My form guide comes already preloaded with the computer speed map, and then I can sort of play with the positions and adjust them a bit where it had, in fact, the more maps. I can change them here in order to get them into different spots. It had mapped them with the Velvet King leading the race and Mrs. Brown's Boy being, Mrs. Brown's Boy there on the rail. But, I largely agree with this map, but I think Mrs. Brown's Boy last start went to the front, persisted for the lead, took it up and led in a good pace and kept going. The Velvet King has been doing similar things, and so I can see why the computer's mapped them that way. However, I think that they'll take the sit on the Velvet King on this occasion due to the fact that they'll go hard with Mrs. Brown's Boy. I think Chloe has a party of take a sit. It's really just my opinion on that. But so I change them around and have them map them this way, with Mrs. Brown's Boy crossing over, the Velvet King sitting out there in the breeze or behind it potentially, probably behind it at least initially, as Chloe has barrier 3, and then Blackline dropping in. Lord Help Me Run, who's one of the fences in the race, just following them and trying to get over the top of them. So as you can see, I've got the ability to change their map positions by changing the grid positions here, and then instantly get a new map over here. So that's how I think it'll be run. I think it'll be truly run. These horses will get a chance to run on, but they'll probably be several lengths behind. With the pattern of these two in front, they like to set up a bit of a break. Mrs. Brown's Boy did that last start. The Velvet King had been doing that as well. So whilst the pace will be on to suit them, they'll need to get on their bikes at some point because they are going to be staying in several lengths start, I think. So let's go over the page to the runners now and take a look through the field and see what I've got. Now, as you can see, this is the form for the horse for each horse. This is Battle Talk's form, top height, Adam Durant and Willie Pike. Now, what you can see here is preloaded is the computer's figures. So just as the computer's map is preloaded into my guide, the computer's predicted figures here are preloaded as well. Now, I personally come up with my own marks to give, but this is a really handy reference point because the computer is quite accurate. So it started with a base figure of 102.7, and then it has a form bonus or penalty, a distance bonus or penalty. SOT is state of the track bonus or penalty, track, fitness, map, trainer, jockey, barrier, its last start form, and its recent market figures, and it comes up with its own total. Now that's there. It's a really handy reference point, as I say. Now, but as I say, do my own mark. Now, Battle Talk is a horse who worked up to a new peak going 108 back here 3 runs ago at the same track and trip, Belmont over the mile, on a good 4, which will be more like tomorrow. He then was okay, just got a bit far out of his ground here and going 106, and then on a wetter track a couple of weeks ago, he couldn't repeat it going 100. You can forgive that a bit, and I think then the market has given it quite a bit. However, as I say, there'll be a little bit of give in the track tomorrow, and he has handled wet in the past, winning back here on soft 7, so can't completely discount last start. He did fail there. It wasn't a wetter track though. So I taking him back from his 108 to 106.5, which made him a $10 chance. As you can see there, my price is loaded there from that 106.5. And if I would, you could give him 107 potentially, make him an $8 chance, or if you were to give him his best 108, give you a $5.70 chance. He's a $5 chance in the real market. So this sort of shows me that the real market's being very forgiving. Obviously, with Pike on board, they love him. The market's giving him full mark. I think he might go out a little bit from that personally on Saturday. So I'll be 106.5, $10. Somewhere for me in 106.5 to 107 range is where I think that horse gets marked. Leaving it at 106 for now. On to the next horse, which is Mrs. Brown's Boy. So as I said before, he set up a solid pace last start and kept going. He tied a little bit late, but he got to 105. I think they'll try the same tactics. I can't see why they wouldn't. Alan Kennedy rode him back here when he rated 107, which is the actual top. That was the Belmont mile as well. Obviously likes the track. And I think that, yeah, they'll cross over, go to the front. I've given him 106, a little bit more than that, a little bit less than his best somewhere there. I think he can do somewhere in that range. And that makes him an $11 chance or $10 chance, $10.70 chance. And he's about $9 in the real market. So it's about the market roughly agrees with what I've predicted there. Velvet King is one of the favourites in the race. This is a horse who has worked up in his marks from his early days as a 2-year-old, 101 winning at Belmont. So as a 2-year-old, going really well, and 102, 102, 106, really sort of able to improve. And then last prep was able to get up to 106 again, 105. And this prep comes back and goes 106 twice before a failure last start. All these 106s achieved says to me, because it's only a 3-year-old, that there's more in the tank for a peak at around about 111 at some point as they work in their 5-point levels. And I think, it's potential to do it tomorrow. So this run here was a good sign of a horse who's got more, because he did 106 first up 1,200 metres when he went far too fast in front. They just went suicidally quick, and he still battled on okay and managed to run second and rate 106, which was his equal top. So when he does 106 when conditions aren't to suit, then surely he can do more when conditions are to suit. He held it here, winning 106, found the line pretty well. He looked like he was under pressure at one point, because he went fast again, not as fast as he did here, but he went quickly again, and he had a couple of length break coming into the straight, and then looked like, oh, okay, he might compound here, but he held his margin on by about a length and a half in the end, and didn't really seem to be ending his run on the line. So I'm still, when he holds his 106 second up, I'm thinking, okay, well, at some point still there might be 111. You can be forgiving of this run. Last start went 98. It was raining. It was getting into it was a deteriorating track by this time of the day. It was the last race of the day. You could barely see them in parts of the vision, and he just again went hard, but just knocked up on that crappy track in the rain. So I'm willing to forgive runs like that. So I'm thinking to myself, potentially 111 at some point. However, it's also, he hasn't done it, so I've got to come back from that. And he is still some query at the mile. Even though his run didn't really end here, he once went to the mile back here, and he wasn't able to finish the race off that day. He did still rate 100, but he was second up from the spell. But still, there is a question mark about him at the distance for mine as a result, because, yep, it's still the unknown. I've ended up with him 107. As I say, if this was 1,400 metres and he was getting his own way in front, say, I'd be more like 109, 110, because probably 109, because I would think that, he's okay at 1,400 metres, and that would make him quite short. But it's not 1,400 metres, it's the mile, and Mrs. Brown's boy is in the race as well to test him. So I've only marked him 107. His M rates here, which is market rates, are high. Last stop was 109. They've always been high, so they've always had an opinion of this horse. Therefore, they know that he's got ability, and when you get an M rate of 109, so the market's thinking you're 109 horse, then it's kind of lining up, correlating with me saying that he's potentially 111 off his 106s here. So 107, I don't feel like I've been too generous there, and it's still been a $2.70 chance as a result. Going to inject the venom, okay, we'll just skip over him because he's just not up to it. 97 is all I can give him, makes him 350 to 1. Double Digit is a horse who's second up from the spell, and went pretty genuine. He went well first up, going 99. He's able to rate 102s, 103s quite regularly last prep and at this trip, and he goes well Belmont, and he goes well the mile. So 103, 102 and a half, 103. I've given him 102 and a half, but realistically for that, if he did his 103 and won the race, then some of these favoured runners would have to have failed for 103 to have actually won. So that's his task. You can do 103, but it's not that likely to win. They make him a $26 chance as a result of that. Going to Lord Help Me Run, who's the other favourite in the race. He is also a 3-year-old, and he's worked up, improving his figures quite nicely through his career. Got up to 105 here over 1,400 metres. Got to 105 again last prep, in listed grade last November. And then 105 second up this prep, over 1,200, and then 106. So he keeps improving, 106 over 1,400. And he was strong to the line that day. I liked it. There was one that loomed up to challenge him that never got to him, and he held him on the line and was good on the line, good through the line. I think the mile will be completely fine. So unlike the Velvet King, Lord Help Me Run is one who I have no queries about at the mile. I think he can do a little bit more again than his 106 because he's got these 97s and things, 92, 97s. He's moving through looking like 107 horse when he's doing those kinds of marks. And so he's done 106, fourth up, just the extra little bit of fitness. I think he can find his ultimate top, which is 107. Maps behind these leaders. I think the pace on will be okay for him. He'll just track them and try to hook out and run them down, do his 107, pretty honest, pretty genuine kind of horse. That makes him $3.70 chance. Candlelight Star, an 8-year-old, is with a new camp now. He has 109 back here with his old camp, but that was a big figure and he hasn't repeated and gone near repeating it ever since. He's 103, 104 otherwise. He obviously can pull out a big figure on his day as he did there, but his day doesn't come that regularly. I've ended up with 103, a $16 chance. He's one who could upset the apple cart if he managed to find his day, but he is an 8-year-old and his day's not coming very regularly, as I said. Dark Prospect is third up from a spell, has done not much in his first 3 runs back. This one was in the rain, can forgive it a bit, but still only at 78 second up. Best of 106, 105 back here, 1600 Belmont. Does like the track and trip, but you've got to see something first about to indicate they might be back in form. 102 makes it a $24 chance. Interestingly, if you did give it 106, for example, it makes him $5 chance. So there's the difference between knowing, a horse being in form and out of form. 102 makes it a $24 chance. Black Line, the final horse, is similar in a similar boat, except for lower peaks, but has 102s, and this prep hasn't done much. Was okay going 93 first up, poor 1 second up, and you can forgive a poor second up run off a good first up run, but it's just an okay one. I want to see more, and 100, even given 102 points off the top makes him $42 chance. So realistically, even if he does 102, he's probably not going to win the race. So going to the top, we'll go back to this first page now. As you can see, my ratings are all in there that I gave, 106.5, 107s and things. And that makes my market, look, if we scroll down the page a little like this, the Velvet King, the $2 down here, the Velvet King, $2.70 top pick. Lord Help Me Run, $3.70 second pick. Battle Talk, $10. As I say, if you give Battle Talk a little more, you can have him up higher. You could give him 170, would have been an $8 chance. The real market right now has the Velvet King and Lord Help Me Run as $2.70 equal favourites. So no real value there. Battle Talk, $5 chance. As I said, Mrs. Brown's boy was about an $8 or $9 chance. I would be interested to back the Velvet King if it got out, if you got to $3 or more. You'd essentially be taking $3 that he was able to find this speculative 111. I mean, it is speculative because he has not done it, but when he's doing so many 106s, it says to me at some point he will do 111. So I'd take $3 about him doing that tomorrow. As I say, I'd be keener if Mrs. Brownsville went in the race and if it were 1,400 metres. They're the question marks for him. But he's a promising horse. Lord Help Me Run, super genuine, who, if these ones are compounding, will get over the top. These guys will try to run on. Battle Talk, Pike might push up a bit closer than that too. Might be up here somewhere to try to get closer in the run. And so if you were to put Pike up a bit closer, you could map him up there and trying to run on. And they're the main hopes. But yeah, I'd take $3, but the Velvet King, if it was available tomorrow, we'll wait and see. Thanks very much.